Before I get to the video, guys, if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. You guys often give me the inspiration for YouTube. I started doing this YouTube channel, or at least I flipped my content because you guys were asking me a lot of great questions, and I like to use these videos as like a diary to respond to your questions, right? This channel is for you, not just for me. So leave your questions down below. There are no stupid questions. But with that being said, let's get to the video. Anton8267 says, how to train the lung to fight longer for older people over 40 plus, since I can't keep up more than 2 minutes of rolling. All right, so Anton, thank you for the question. You're over 40, you didn't specify how old, but you can't roll for more than 2 minutes without getting gassed out. Obviously, as you guys can see, since I'm back home, I got my whiteboard again. I love my whiteboard. It gives me some direction here. First, we're gonna talk about, I'll give you very simple solutions, but before we talk about, doing any specific exercises to increase your level of cardio, I want to talk about some things that will just help you, right? So the big thing, as you guys can see here, is pacing, okay? So the number one thing is, Anton, how hard are you going, okay? 2 minutes is extremely short, especially in a jiu-jitsu setting where it's not like wrestling where like you're constantly hand fighting, you're up. You are hand fighting, but 2 minutes, you really shouldn't be getting gassed out, burned out, or anything. So how fast are you going? Obviously, there's no metric. There's no way to measure, I guess, unless you have a heart rate monitor, which I guess could be good. But there's no way to measure necessarily if you're going at 100% or if you're going at 50%, right? But you can feel, is your heart rate up, right? Every time you roll, is your heart rate constantly getting very, very high? Are you getting exhausted? Probably means you need to slow down, right? I had this problem when I first started doing jiu-jitsu 4 years ago. I came from a wrestling background. I was spazzy, and in wrestling, you're always taught move, 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 move. And so all I thought was, okay, I'm just gonna move to death, and I would be exhausted after every single round, which is not a good thing. So number one thing is think about your pacing. Am I breathing super hard? Probably means I'm going a little too fast. So go ahead and slow down. The next thing is technique selection during rounds, all right? So technique selection during rounds. If you have 5 rounds during that day, do you think you should be wrestling or outside passing during every round? Probably not, right? Think about playing guard more and doing some tight passing. Now, of course, you can get tired playing guard and doing tight passing, but they also tend to be a little bit more static, right? Obviously, you're pushing and pulling and moving still, but I found when all I'm doing is outside passing and wrestling, it's often more cardio than anything. And if I'm trying to save some energy, it's good to just play guard. Maybe I'm gonna go sit into half guard. I like half guard or butterfly guard. Or I'm gonna get into headquarters and chill for a second, or get into a body lock, or get to half guard chest to chest, and I'm gonna chill and just get into like practice positions where you can kind of chill a little bit more, because once again, in jiu-jitsu, speed is not always success, right? So I think it's good to do those rounds where you're doing a lot more outside passing or a lot more wrestling, but I don't necessarily think that you should be doing these every round. I don't necessarily know what you're doing, Anton, but I would suggest while you're slowing down, a great way to do that is to either play guard or to go ahead and think about, if you really do prefer top, just go ahead and sit in that half guard. Go ahead and get into headquarters. Go ahead and get into body lock and just kind of chill. Let yourself like slowly cook in positions, and I think you'll find you'll get a lot less tired when you do that. The next thing is control your breathing and then score and settle. All right, there's the score and settle rule, okay? So again, a lot of us, especially when we're new, we're like, we're holding our breath. We're basically dying while we're rolling, okay? I think it's really good to be like, am I breathing? I have to tell myself this in matches sometimes, to be like, just breathe. Don't think, just breathe. It's good because a lot of times we just don't breathe, right? We're super tight. We're kind of killing ourselves. So think about breathing. Am I breathing? Am I holding my breath? If you find yourself holding your breath, just breathe, all right? And then that takes us to the score and settle rule, all right? Chewy, my coach, is the one who kind of like, who kind of taught this to me, because a lot of times, especially early on in my matches, and even now still sometimes, but especially early on, I would pass someone's guard and then I would just immediately start running around, trying to take the bag, spazzing out, trying to kill the person. Whereas he was like, bro, you can pass a guard and then you can sit there and pin them for like 30 seconds. Like, what's the rush, right? So you'll literally see me sometimes, I'll pass a guard, I'll grab like head and arm side control, and then I'll go. I'll just sit there and breathe, control my breathing. That's why I say they go hand in hand, as I'll sit there, I'll kind of cook the guy for a little bit, and then I'll start to work into my next position, whether I'm trying to take the back, whether I'm trying to mount the person. But it's like realizing that you don't have to spaz out to transition from position to position. Again, Anton, I don't know if you're doing this or not. I didn't get that information. But for you guys out there who are newer, maybe you were a wrestler, a great thing to do is to score and breathe. Like, to score, pin, and breathe. You hit your takedown, all right, let me hold this person for a second and breathe, right? Because in wrestling, we're always taught chain wrestle, chain wrestle, chain wrestle. So you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which it can be good in jiu-jitsu, but there's also times where it's like, yo, you have a 6-minute match, you have a 10-minute match, like, take your time, bro, or you're gonna kill yourself. And the last thing, we'll talk about actual ways to kind of increase your cardio. I think VO2 max is the thing that the buzzword that people love to use. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. If you're a scientist, leave it down in the comments below. What the hell is a VO2 max? I don't know. I have a nutrition coach and a strength and conditioning coach who does all my work for me. So I'm not a professional on this, but I'll say sprint, diet, recovery, right? I will mark those down again. Sprint, diet, and recovery, all right? If you have sprints, diets, and recovery, you're gonna feel a lot better when you roll, right? So for me, I usually sprint 1 to 2 times a week. I think sprinting is great, and I think there's a lot of variability in how you can sprint. You can do assault bike, you can do normal bike, you can do hill sprints, you can do normal flat road sprints. Whatever it is, there's tons of different ways to utilize sprints to help you with your conditioning. And the great thing about sprints is it's actually a lot easier to recover from sprints than it is to recover from like a 7-mile run, okay? Which I don't actually think 7-mile runs are gonna help you as much in your jiu-jitsu or wrestling as a good sprinting routine is. Now, again, I'm not a professional. I could be totally wrong, but in my experience, sprinting has been something that's really helped me, especially when it comes to recovering from those super heavy and fast scrambles and while doing takedowns, right? So I get a lot less tired in those things now because I do a lot more sprints. And like I said, diet is really, really big. I got a strength and nutrition coach named Eli. His name's Eli Coffey. He works with Team Bionic. If you guys can look him up on Instagram. But whenever I got a new diet, I became a lot less lethargic. I started feeling a lot better. I've been able to sleep better. When I wake up, I'm a lot more present. I'm a lot more focused, and I'm a lot sharper. So I think diet could have a huge impact on you. I'm not going to say what type of diet you could have or you should have, because everyone's completely different. You know, lots of people get blood work to see what's optimal for them. Maybe that's something that you could go ahead and do. And the last thing is recovery, right? A big reason that you might be getting tired in practice during rounds is because you're not recovered well. Either you're training too much and training too hard, or you're not sleeping enough, right? Or maybe you're like we say, you're doing too many rounds, right? A lot of times I'll go 2 rounds on, 1 round off, or I'll only do 3 rounds in a day, where I'll just be like, I'm doing 3 7-minute rounds and that's it. And maybe, some people say, yo, that's not optimal. Maybe you're not getting as many rounds as you should. Whatever, do you. This is just my advice. Recovery is a really big thing. Sometimes we overtrain and then we're dead, and now we're getting sore, and now when we do try to train and we try to push it, we just don't have that extra gear to like push through. Literally, like for me, I felt when I've overtrained, it's like my legs have gassed out like before I even started a round, right? So I think good sleep, good recovery, resting well, taking a day off, doing things like this will help you with your gas tank as far as it relates to having more success and being able to roll a lot longer. Now, this is all general stuff. I'm not a professional, but these are just things that I start to focus on. So just kind of a recap here, guys. There's a 40-year-old who gasses out after 2 minutes of rolling. That's crazy. So here are some solutions, right? Pacing, slow down when you're rolling. Technique selection. If you're getting really tired, go ahead and play guard. Look to do tight passing. Control your breathing. Stop holding your breath. When you do score, go ahead and try to settle for a couple seconds. Take those deep breaths. Score. Settle. Take your time, because it's jiu-jitsu, not wrestling. And then when we talk about some actual solutions, sprints, again, hire a professional to help you out with this. Diet, again, hire a professional. Get a strength and nutrition coach if you can afford it. And recovery, right? Take days off. Relax. Maybe take a round off. See if any of this helps. if none of it helps, sorry, this will be my best advice. Thank you guys for watching. I'm excited to push out more content. I'm about to compete this weekend in the Montreal Quintet. Wish me my best. Win or lose, I know I'm more than this moment. And as a reminder, guys, I have a new instructional that's about to come out. It's called Hips Don't Lie. It's a takedown defense instructional. I'm gonna finish getting it ready right after the competition. I've been really focused on kind of prepping for this competition and cutting weight. I'm in skinny boy hours right now for the competition. I'm 240 from 257 in about 4 weeks. So it's been, you know, I guess an energy drainer with all the seminars and stuff too. So I'll work a little bit more on that defense instructional. But if you guys want any other instructionals, you guys can go to brandonreed3x.com/score. That's 3x.com/store to find all my takedown for jiu-jitsu instructionals. Or you guys can check out the links below to find my Wrestling for Dummies Patreon, where you can start a 7-day free trial. Other than that, leave your questions below. Thanks for watching.